Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about balanced homeschool, how we can have a life and get good academics done. We can go on fun field trips and complete our curriculum by the end of the year. Well, at least the part we mostly want to, or all of it. It's your choice. We can go on field trips and see educational value. We can be part of a village, and we can be good with our intentions of homeschooling. We can produce kids that are going to go off to college or to a trade school or doing whatever God is going to call them to do and be fully prepared for that, or fully prepared to learn how to do whatever God is calling them to do. And we can have a balance to our life. I often view there's a lot of issues where you can fall on one side of a ditch or the other. We're going to talk about how can we stay on a good path without going too far this way or too far that way. And we can really be intentional with our time and our energy. So I did put out a video a few weeks ago talking about how we're academic homeschoolers. First of all, my name is Stephanie. I'm from the Well-Doing Mama. I have 8 kids, ages 22 down to 6. I have been homeschooling for 18 years. I have 1 college graduate. I have a second that is in college. And then I have 6 other kids down the line. So I have been doing this a while. And I do have some notes to my side, so you may see me glance over there. I put out a video a couple weeks ago about academic homeschooling and how we do take academics seriously as homeschoolers in my family, and how it's important to us. Our kids have been gifted with God, with intelligence, and we need to nurture that. I want my kids to leave my home prepared to do whatever God is going to call them to do. That has to do with both giving them good academics, but also teaching them to be a good villager, to teaching them how to think and how to interact in the world around them, how to enjoy the world that God has made. All of these things are combined to do that. Maybe it's using good athletic skills your kids have. Maybe it's, I'm trying to think of what else, baking skills, or maybe your kid's really good at landscape, all the skills that your kids could have. How do we merge all of this together? So I'm going to talk about balanced homeschooling today. So there's a lot of noise in the homeschool community. I hope I'm not adding to the noise. What I mean by noise is people that say, do it this way, do it that way. And a lot of these people only have little kids. They don't have adult children. And they're telling you how to do it, but we don't know that their results are actually going to work. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's not one right way to homeschool. There are multitudes of right ways. There are some wrong ways. Okay? I'm going to be honest. I think there's some wrong ways to homeschool. But there's no one right way. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, you need to do this and you need to do this and this will make your homeschool better. You're going to have to figure some of that out on your own. That's where good friends and things like that can really help you to figure out how to do those things. But what I am going to tell you is what I do by balancing our homeschool. Now you will notice I'm just hidden in a corner of my bedroom because this is real life. I have kids playing games and kids playing piano, and I do not have this perfect little setup. So this is just real life that I'm talking to you through. Okay, so I hear a lot of noise in the homeschool community about how everyone should homeschool their kids. They should do it this way and they should do it that way. And what I find is that we fall into those ditches. We fall into extremes. You should be doing 8 hours of schoolwork, seated in a chair all day long, and you better check that math every single day or your kid's going to fall behind. And then I hear people that say, you need to go on every field trip and you need to explore the world and the kids should be playing in the dirt. And we just get these two extremes. And our world does not need to live in these extreme ideas. So I also hear, just do your best, it'll all work out. Don't worry, there's no behind. It's all about fun. It's all okay as long as you teach them some Bible. Don't agree with that, okay? We do need to do our best, but we need to make sure that our best is leaning into what the Lord is telling us to do and that we're diligently doing that. We were studying Colossians in our Bible study at church, and we were in Colossians 3, and the verse in there about do everything heartily as unto the Lord. I'm doing this as unto the Lord, and I need to pursue it correctly and with full gusto. Like, I need to put my energy into it. Then I also hear, field trips don't matter. You must have a strict schedule. You must learn Latin or whatever pet subject it may be for that person. It must always be so rigorous. Your kids must read every classic by the time they, I'm trying to scroll down. Your kid must read every classic book by the time they graduate high school. That's not realistic. Field trips not only are fun, but I really think they're educational. As they explore the world around them, then things that they're reading in the book, they've built pegs that those things that they read now hit on that peg and they go, oh, this makes sense. I know what I'm talking about here. But there is a balance that we can have. We can take field trips. We can bake as part of our school. We can be serious about academics and complete a good amount of school in a year. We can blend life and seat work well. We can provide great friend time and group learning and teachers with other teachers, other people teaching them in a co-op. We have a co-op that our kids do, and we can raise successful adults. I have proof of this. I have 2 successful adults so far. Excellent scholarships for college, doing extremely well in those things. We can have fun, and we can have friends, and we can have a community, and we can have family time. All of these things can blend together. So, one thing I hear, the new phrase I hear a lot is, if you want a village, you need to be a villager. And this is 100% true, right? If you want a community around you, you need to be part of the community. You need to show up. But what this looks like practically, it may mean a friend needs a meal, or somebody might even not know very well. We get meal trains from church, and I might not know the person very well, but I might have the capacity to make them a meal. And so that might mean we don't do school that afternoon, and I prep a nice meal for this family that has a need. It might mean that a friend needs to go to a doctor's appointment or take a kid to a doctor's appointment. I need to bring in have a couple of her kids with me that day. And so I might not get much school done that day, and that's okay. It might mean on Wednesday afternoon that I need a little nap so I can make it through Awanas that night at church with a good and happy attitude. That was especially true when we had little kids. When we had lots of little kids, my youngest is 6 now. Wednesday afternoons, I knew it was mama nap time and easy dinners. Now we're really blessed. We do dinner at church, so that helps a lot. But still, mama might need a nap on Wednesdays even, or just an hour to myself. A lot of times it's not even a nap at this point. It's more, I need to just breathe and not have any interruptions for like an hour. It's great. And that's okay. And that may mean less school gets done for some of these reasons, right? That day, less school may get done because we're prioritizing something else. Okay. So I have to be able to keep flexibility in my schedule. If I want to have so I have to be able to have flexibility. If I want to be able to do these things, my schedule sometimes is going to have to flex. But in that flexibility, I need to make sure that I'm also accomplishing our school. And I'm going to talk about my system for allowing me to be flexible and getting our school done. So I have a system to make all of that work together. Sanity. My sanity matters, right? Like my ability to just think clearly and be calm matters. My husband works a lot of hours. We don't have family around to help. We moved away from them. That's nobody's fault. That just is what it is. We can't afford to hire help. I've even suggested that to people at times, but it's not in our budget. So that means that the shopping, the cooking, the cleaning, the homeschooling, almost all of it falls to me. Not because my husband's not participating in life, but because he's also he's also paying the bills so that we can have this life. So he has to work, and that is a good thing. He obviously does help and serve our family. I don't even like the word help, but he is around our family. But he's not doing a school subject with the kids other than a rare occasion where I'm like, we didn't get to math. Can you please do math with this child? Or if a kid's struggling to focus with me, sometimes he'll take a lesson. That's not very often. So that means I need to allot time in my weekly schedule to grocery shop. One option, especially if you have lots of littles, is to do pickup or delivery. I don't, because Aldi's cheaper and they don't have pickup or delivery that's cheaper. They charge more for those, so I need to save the dollars, so I don't do it. But Walmart pickup and delivery are often used by people I know. It didn't exist when my kids were little, so I often don't even think about it. It may mean I need to take time in our week. It definitely means I need to take time in our week to clean my house or run other errands. Sometimes it even just means I'm exhausted from whatever we've been running and doing, and I need to take an afternoon as a chill afternoon. Or maybe I read a book, or maybe I work on a project I really want to work on. Do even a sewing project, do something fun that fills me. And that's okay. We can balance with these things. Okay, our goal is learning. Our goal is not checking boxes. So that means that a kid might be stuck on a subject and I need to stop where we're at and figure out how to help them and then move on. And that's where I think we have to be real careful going, oh, I'm behind. Okay, but are we learning? Did we have to stop and practice something a little bit more? And so keeping that in mind. Socialization, field trips, socialization and friendship. I value my kids having good social opportunities and good friendships with, I don't even want to use the word curated, but with good friends. Okay, I don't think every socialization opportunity is worthwhile. That requires time though, right? It requires a play date with this person and a play date with that person, or an activity with this friend, or playing at the park, or hanging out with these people. Friendship and relationship requires time. And so I have to allot time for those things to occur. So I am willing some days to cut lessons short. Now, can I do it every day? No, that's the balance. Every day can't be hanging out with friends, and every day doesn't need to be heavy academics. It is a balancing act. But it does require you to be diligent in balancing. Okay, field trips. I talked about this a little bit. I value field trips and experiences. For example, this year we went to 2 shows at our, nearby city's performing arts center. We saw the Nutcracker, and then we saw like a Cirque du Soleil type show. Both very cool shows, and they were $5 a person because they were school matinee shows. Great opportunity. Never could afford those type of tickets on a regular basis to go do something like that. Just even being able to go into a performing arts center like that and see the amazing arts center and see a performance and what it looks like and how the seats are and just all of that is a worthwhile experience for our kids. So again, it was going to be our whole morning. By the time we drove there, it's a whole morning to do all of that, even though the show's only like an hour long. We did a living nativity where we got to walk through a barn and see animals and hear the story of Christmas. And we did that with friends. So we're combining a field trip. A lot of field trips we combine with friends. So we have the friendship and the field trip pieces together. Sometimes I like to do a few field trips by ourselves. These are important building blocks in our kids' education. And so they're valuable. Time. One of the reasons I homeschool my kids is so I can have time with them, which might mean I just want to have an afternoon of playing games with them. And I've done that before where I'm like, we're just going to have a game day. And we spend all morning playing games and hanging out and having a good time. And that's okay too, because we are a family and we need to build the relationships there. Okay. And that's the second interruption, but that's okay because my children live here. Okay, so variety of learning. I want my kids to have a wide range of experiences in their life. And so we do 4-H to add to our variety of learning and give them some reasons and things. So they've done sewing projects. They have done artwork. They've done posters on historical figures. They do activities for children that are like babysitting type activities. We did electrical work, and so a huge variety of activities in fairy gardens, a super fun little project. So over years, they'll do all kinds of different projects and try different things. Wood burning. One of my kids did a wood burning project. So this is a great way for them to try and experience things, and then they'll submit the projects and get judged and ribbons, and some things will go to state fair. Super great way for them to have a variety of learning. So all of these fall into what I want to balance in our lives. So we're academic homeschoolers. We are going to finish our books for the year, but we do these extra things, right? We're going to do diligent work. We're going to have high level of schooling while balancing it. Now, I honestly am a big believer that elementary school is a great time to really explore and love learning. And Hitting hard on math and language arts, but science and history, we do those through our co-op, and there it's more about loving the learning, right? Learning to love learning. Okay, so I want to raise well-rounded adults that have good experience, have good life, have good relationships with their siblings, have good relationships with other people, know how to serve people, all of these things. So, system. I have a system to make this work. So my system, as I go through, like I said, science and history. I used to do this with science and history also. So if you do those at home, totally do it with them. Math and language arts, I go through our book and I say, how many lessons does this book have? So a lot of our books have, let's say, 120 lessons. I divide that by 4. 120 divided by 4 is 30. Perfect. I need to be at lesson 30 by where I want a quarter of our school year to be. And I was going to look and see if I have a calendar, but I don't have one right there. So I take my school planner and I look at our dates and I count out when we're going to start and when I kind of want to end. And that's obviously can be a little flexible, and I count how many weeks that is. So if it's 36 weeks, let's say, especially if you take out a couple weeks for Christmas and all of that, I just take our weeks and I count them out, taking out Thanksgiving week, 2 weeks for Christmas. Those are really the big breaks we take. And then I divide that. So if that's 36 weeks divided by 4 gives me 9 weeks. Then I start. So we're starting school on, I think, August 17th this year. I count out 9 weeks from August 17th and I circle that day. That's quarter 1. I want to be on lesson 30 in math and language arts by that date. Now, will I always be there? No. Because in fall, really, we've had a really hot spring and we had a really weird spring. Not a nice spring, and a hot summer. So if fall is nice, we are going to spend a lot of time outside. We are going to go to the parks and we're going to go. And so if it is nice this fall, we are going to be outside and we're going to be playing and loving life, being outside, probably go to some of our state parks. I was hoping to do that this summer, but it has been so hot for so many weeks that it just is not even reasonable to think about going outside. So our fall might be, so when I get to that day, I marked. Let's say it's the second week of October, I have marked. Let's pick a date. Let's say it's October 6th. And we get to October 6th. And we're on lesson 35 of math and 22 of language arts. That's a good key to me that we're doing more math than language arts. So we'll actually pause our math and double up on our language arts until we're caught up to the same spot. Why we do that is because one year we got to the end of the year and we had like 30 lessons of language arts left and we're done with math. And then we're like doing 3 or 4 lessons of language arts a day, which is not my preference. Now you go, how does that happen? Well, my kids get to like mark off things as they go throughout the day. And we can do a little bit of schoolwork and then we're going to go on to this field trip or we're going to go see these friends or whatever. This is why we keep track of it. I know my quarter marks. It's also, if we get there and we get to I think we said October 6th, right? We get to October 6th and we're on lesson 25 of both. Hopefully I've looked a little ahead and knew we were kind of coming up. We will then probably need to take a couple of days where we are super laser focused and get a lot of school done. So days it's rainy out and gross and we can't get outside or we have nothing to do, we'll look at those days and we'll go, let's aim for this and get a lot of school done these days. So that's how I balance it, is I know where each of my quarter marks are. So I'm not going to get to the end of the year and be 40 lessons behind because I would have known that when I got to quarter 3. I would have known that when I got to quarter 2, probably quarter 1. So I mark each of my quarters. You can do the same thing with science, with history. And actually, my kids then get motivated. One year we even had a quarter party. So every time we got to a quarter mark, we had a party, like we had friends over and had a pizza party, or we went and did this fun thing or something. So that's also a way to reward them if you want them to be really involved in it. This year, I'm even going to add our 4-H projects to that and give them 3 for each quarter to get done to help us stay on track for that. Again, it's also a great way for my high schoolers who have more independent work. Our high schoolers do 6 to 7 subjects a year. That's a lot of work and a lot of classes that we're juggling. Science and history are taking care of it co-op, but all the other classes they're juggling, and I'm helping them juggle that, right? And this helps us stay on track. Like, okay, are you a quarter of the way through? Okay, you got ahead in this, but now we probably need to catch up in this. Yeah, and some of those reasonings make sense. Like, I really want to finish this section because it makes sense. Yeah, great. Now let's get this section finished up. And so it really helps us balance by making those quarter marks. Let me know if that doesn't make sense and I can like do a video on just our quarter marking. Okay, so that is how we can stay focused on our goals, but add in the fun things. Also, oh, one more thing. If we get to like the beginning of October, we said October 6th was our magic first quarter date, and we realize that we're way ahead, maybe we're in lesson 40, and we know we're going into winter, it's going to be kind of dreary and gross, and maybe we're like, wow, we can do some more field trips. We haven't taken very many breaks. Oh man, we have a couple of great, beautiful days up ahead weather-wise. Let's go to this state park and let's go do this fun thing. And then we can go, oh, we maybe aren't having enough fun. Let's put in some more fun. So it really is a balancing act of looking at where you're at and what you have to do and going, okay, what does today look like? What does it look like long term? But those quarter marks are really the point of how I can stay on track. How many lessons are in the book? Divide it by 4. How many weeks? Divide it by 4 and match those up. And then I just kind of check on it every week or two with the kids and go, okay, you're right on track. I even took in the back of their book and put each week where I wanted them to be at, because I really wanted to finish before we left for graduation for our oldest child this year. So I was like really determined to finish, because coming back in mid-May, we wanted to finish early because of that, but then coming back mid-May and having to restart school would have been pretty miserable for all of us. So I just even made like a weekly list of here's where we should be each week. You can do that if you need to, even to kind of encourage you. Not that you have to be there, but it gives you the goal marks. So you can go, okay, that's what I want to get done. It does require saying no. There are times, more times than I'd like, that I have to say no to friends' time, right? You really do have to shift and be home to get school done. We say no to outside classes that, oh, I'd really love to do this and I'd really love to do that. But we also need to be home and get our school done. So there is a lot of saying no to have a balanced homeschool. But there's also a lot of saying yes. And so you get to make the choices of what is the most important thing for you. So I hope that is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. I encourage you to have a balanced homeschool so your kids you can enjoy your kids and enjoy time with your kids, but also achieve the academic level and rigor that you want for your family, so they can go out and do whatever God is calling them to do with their lives. Thanks for joining us today. Please leave a comment if you have something else you'd like me to talk about or you have any questions. Please hit the like button and subscribe to see more videos about what we do.